Welcome back to Beards and Brews. Hey, if you haven't already, be sure to like or subscribe no matter where you're listening. Not only does it help us out, but you'll know exactly when we have another one brewing. Gentlemen, we've heard of ghosts and ghoulies and all these spooky things. What about a phantom? Specifically, purple. What'd you think?
Damn, dude. Rey Mysterio looked amazing in this, alright?
Jeez.
I know I've mentioned it, you guys. Just so the audience knows, I had never heard of this movie before, didn't know a damn thing about it. This is 1996's The Phantom, starring Billy Zane. Do you guys know this movie?
I have a vague memory of this movie, so I'm just going to just say, yeah, I grew up with it. Watched it all the time.
Brady, this was your pick, wasn't it?
No, it was mine.
It was Eric's pick for sure, but I definitely am right there with him. It's one of those things that I saw in the youth, and definitely the cover has stuck with me. And mostly Billy Zane and his fucking outfit have been burnt into my mind thanks to Rey Mysterio in his 1997 Halloween Havoc versus Eddie Guerrero match.
Regarding the suit, we will have to talk about whether or not this whole thing is a giant character assassination against Billy Zane. But to answer your question, Chan Man, I do have some memories of this movie. Like my uncle, when I grew up, he was a projectionist for a United Artists Theater in our area. You guys know the place.
That's right.
And like, he just had like a bunch of shit from over the years. Like, he would get boxes of like all this gub from movies that nobody would take home. And he just had a box of rings from this movie, and I've been giving them out for a solid 20 years. I was a little thrilled to go back to see if this movie was any good, and hot damn, is it not?
I didn't think it was bad. Like, we'll get into it, but this movie is solidly lukewarm to me.
It's another one of those precursor films. It's got Sky Captain. It's got definitely Indiana Jones. There's so much Batman influence, and 110%. We can't get past the fact that this is basically a setup for The Mummy. This wanted to be The Mummy so hard.
What I get, like, I knew that this was a superhero movie coming in. I mean, you can see the poster. That's a superhero movie. Like, to me, this is straight up like Indiana Jones, maybe a little bit of King Kong. It just happens to have a, quote, superhero in it. And his superhero, like his superpower, he lives on an island and he has some guns. That's about it, right?
Oh, come on, that's pretty cool. His superpower is just be like, I've had enough of this fight, and just shoots the guy. His entire character is just that bit from Raiders where he just shoots the dude with the sword.
His entire bit is he's a very agile grimace.
Leave Indigo Jones alone, all right? He's trying his best with all those short rounds that he's accumulated over the years, which, fortunately for us, segues right into the plot of the movie. We jump right into it. We got a bunch of bad dudes in the forest. They've kidnapped this poor kid who knows the local language. They're trying to find some antiquity worth some sauce. And unfortunately, they're also really dumb.
Oh, yeah. This is the main bad guy, at least up to this point, is played by James Remar, who I would not recognize by name, but I recognize him by face because that is Dexter's father. That is Dexter's father, but that is also Ajax from the Warriors.
My personal favorite, of course.
Yep.
Nice. Well, we can't skip over his major contribution to the Mortal Kombat franchise as Raiden.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was a Raiden. I don't know if the Raiden, but he was definitely up there.
My Raiden, by the way, will always be Mr. Christopher Lambert. So just put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Right there with you. There can be only one.
God damn it. Yes. We do get another Mortal Kombat character a little bit later, but we'll get into that.
Absolutely. And is he such a surprise? Stay tuned.
When he walked on the screen, I was like, that's motherfucking Shang Tsung. What's he doing here?
100%. Threw my hands in the air and went, oh, that's my boy Shang Tsung.
Yep.
I was totally convinced that, like, mustachio bad man, I guess, Tony Stank. I totally believed that he was going to pay with his soul. He's like, fuck it, I'm just a 30s philanthropist. Of course I'm going to give you my soul, idiot, you know?
Deal.
Just because you go into that voice, I want to mention, you alluded a little bit, Brady, the Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow thing. This does start out with, like, you know, in case you missed it last time, that whole sort of serialized 1930s comic book-esque kind of stylization. Well, they give up on that immediately.
Oh yeah, dude! Like just it's a good taste of the intro of a Johnny Quest episode, and then it just becomes Travel, the eggplant movie.
I kind of wish they kept that up a little bit.
Maybe, but like they don't start the movie with like, "Hey, let me catch you up on our purple adventures so far." There's like, "Hey, asshole, thanks for showing up late. Now we got to recap the whole front of the movie. This, that. Billy Zane looks like a dipshit. Here we go."
Oh.
Okay, straight up. Does he look ridiculous? Fuck yes. Does Billy Zane carry the charisma to get this character over? Fuck yes.
Yeah.
Billy Zane
he
could
does.
have been Batman.
No, I'm right there with you. You guys are going to hear me shit on this movie left and right, and by all means, it does deserve it. But this movie's won me over. I love this thing. Like, this thing is so charming in the weirdest way. And it's almost because, like, this movie, with, like, a little tweak here and there, could be, like, the next Mummy. It's such a spectacle in that regard.
It could have been something, but at that point in time, like, you know, the Batman movies were just getting off the ground, like with Michael Keaton and all those. Like, we hadn't hit full MCU yet. We hadn't even gotten the Spider-Man movies yet. Like, this is the no man's land of 90s superhero movies, and you can kind of tell.
And I also believe that this movie exists in a particular time, because in the 90s, there was this, like, weird uptick in like the roaring 20s, which I guess I have to blame solely on that one scene from The Mask. You know what I'm talking about. Like, everybody's in zoot suits. We get all these action adventure movies taking place in the 20s and 30s, you know, based in action serials. But like what The Rocketeer did and all these other movies is that they really tried to translate that kind of entertainment to the 90s audience or what thereof. This movie, I feel I have never read a Phantom comic, a Sunday comic strip, anything, but it feels like this is verbatim that comic strip or comic book, because there is no levity and no room for interpretation. Everything is straight, but that man looks like a grimace.
People were like, there's a thing out there, and it's on a horse, and it has a wolf. It's like, bro, that's clearly a guy in a fucking skin-tight purple fucking suit. Like, that's not any, like, there's nothing supernatural looking about him. He looks ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, in the best way, with love.
Okay, I see your point, but don't you think in a time where everything was sepia toned, seeing something purple was like a religious experience?
Fair enough.
I mean,
he's in Technicolor, goddammit. It's not real.
Yeah. It's like when Dorothy opens the door, it's just Billy Zane in the suit.
Oh, and he's just got the 245s waiting on him.
So, speaking of Kansas, where the fuck does this movie take place?
Everywhere and nowhere.
I read on the IMDb blurb. All right, so this might be IMDb's fault. I read on the IMDb blurb that he is a superhero from a descendant of an African line, yada, yada, yada. There is zero Africa in this movie. Zero.
Right.
Like, they never tell you explicitly where this goes on, although there's a little, like, pinpoint on a map at one point. We'll get to that. But the geography of this movie is just full of catastrophic anachronisms. And just culturally all over the place. Bits from, like, India and China and Southeast Asia and just, like, everywhere. It's like, what?
He's a man of the world, you know? He could be anywhere. He's the fucking Phantom. He lives in Castle Grayskull on the middle of an island, for God's sakes. His main antagonist is named Xander Drax, and it's not the guy from Princess Bride.
True.
Yeah. As a guy who didn't quite like Sky Captain or World of Tomorrow, I am not the guy to give it a pass, but I'm going to give it a pass because those old movies were just like, no one gives a shit. They're in a jungle somewhere. It's that kind of mentality. You can say it's wherever. You could say it's New Zealand and have the same thing. Like, well, I've never been to New Zealand. That's probably right.
Yeah, you're 100% right. People in the 1930s, like, had no idea. They just thought jungle was jungle. It's somewhere over there, not here.
Yeah, planes were still new back then. You know what I mean? So it's like, planes, you could go anywhere.
Yeah, but it'll take you 17 hours.
Yeah, just to go to Toledo.
Goddamn geographic anomaly. 2 weeks from everywhere.
Fucking Dapper Dan man himself.
Absolutely.
Right.
But one of my gripes might be about like just how much of the actual story would be spent traveling and how little time we are shown any of the traveling. Because they do a lot of flying, New York to island, another island back to New York, and there's just that would take so long in 1930.
No, that's a great point, because like the movie kind of struggles with the Phantom. So he's the Phantom. I think this is a unique moment where like I could totally bypass caring about like how he got places. He's just there. Like it totally works with the character. The movie spends no time, like you said, showing us how we get to point A to point B, but the movie will not even flinch showing Billy Zane try to work his way across the rope to get to a tugboat, or try his best to get around some like small crevice in an elevator shaft. Like that's a great point, movie. Thank you.
Okay. Watching him wiggle himself across that rope was like watching Lara Croft in Tomb Raider 1 when you don't really have a grip on the controls just yet.
It wasn't so much the travel, it was the setup to the travel. So him sliding, like you said, down the elevator shaft, or doing the rope, or jumping off the end of the pontoon boat. All of that is just a precursor. We get like 10 minutes of him getting to the thing, his mode of travel. 10 minutes of him getting to his mode of travel, and then it just turns to the cutscene of Street Fighter 2 where the plane just flies from location to location, and it's just like, Japan, and then it's just him jumping off the plane.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
There's also like some shell shock when you get from place to place. Like Billy Zane himself, like he does finally make it to New York and stuff, and it's just like, oh man, I forgot my wallet. Do you accept loose gems, taxi man?
Like when he pulled out that handful of gems, it looks... Come on. Like, I know what gems look like, and I know what a brand new game of Pretty Pretty Princesses look like.
Yes.
And that's definitely side B. But the first thing that he pulls out is a wad of cash from a nation that does not and has never existed. He says the name, that is not a real country.
Wakanda forever.
Yeah. But, like, this is supposed to be in the Benguela jungle or something, and that doesn't exist either, right? I'm not a geography expert, but, they're just making shit up.
I mean, totally. I mean, the guy lives just in a shitty bat cave, not with, like, technological freedom and an Alfred to tell whatever to do. No, he lives where, like, all his dead relatives are just stored in the walls, specifically the male bloodline, so Pop's just, like, right there.
Ghost Pops be fucking filling him in on exposition dumps too. Like, if we need to find something out in the movie, we're getting it from Dad, who doesn't exist.
Oh, yeah.
So Billy Zane's a loon.
No, okay, first of all, somehow Palpatine is involved, because that's how he fucking arrives in this movie, looking like that dude. And the movie does not tell you that he's dead, like, outright. Like, he's just some old dude, right? You kind of feel like the Phantom is maybe a protege of sorts. He's still learning the ropes. No, he's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mean to go back into this, but Dexter, it's the same way with Dexter. His dad just shows up, they have a conversation, and it's like, oh, who are you talking to, Dexter? Oh, nobody.
100%, because we're shown his father for the first time in a very Alfred sense. We have Bruce Wank, and he's sitting in his library, and he's reading his Encyclopedia Britannicas, as one would. And suddenly, there's an elderly gentleman giving him information. And you're like, oh, okay, here's Dad and or Alfred. We get it now. Okay, quick reference. I get it. All right, sweet. And then Haji, I'm just calling him that because he looks just like the character from Johnny Quest. He shows up, and the guy goes, flip, and just disappears. And when that happened, I went, wait, what?
He's just like, who were you talking to, Phantom? No one.
Barts.
Okay, so I just want to talk about this for a second. As we are on the podcast, I did a little bit of investigation, looked up the Wikipedia page for Bengala, because I know you're interested. It only exists within this franchise of the Phantom. It officially takes place as a fictional African country. Until the 60s, it was portrayed as being in Asia, near India, but evidently in the 2009 miniseries, it was located off the Malay archipelago. Nobody knows where this fucking place is.
I'm pretty sure this whole thing was written by dudes so far back in the day when they just thought of, like, women. They're just like, yeah, make her Asian or some kind of Italian.
Give her some big titties.
Listen, Catherine Zeta-Jones had so much character development in here. She went from horny bitch to horny cool chick. All right, she wanted that Phantom's eggplant.
I'm just happy that she survived this so she can manage to get into Zorro.
100%. Yeah, I was talking about this movie with my roommate, and he didn't know anything about it. I'll just say that, which is a surprise. When I said Catherine Zeta-Jones was in this, he was shocked. She takes a ride in this movie.
I was just as shocked. Like, I had no clue she was in the movie whatsoever. This certainly before she was a megastar, because she's not on the poster. I picked this movie because I have a vague memory from childhood, and I'm just like, holy shit, I'm sorry.
I think she's just trying to figure out what accent she should have through the whole thing.
Maybe, well, from the sounds of things, it sounds like her grandpa was from Germany and, just, unfortunately had to move to Argentina for some reason.
That might be what it is. And then she's been hanging out in Bengala for a while, so she's picking up a little bit of, I don't know. It's just all over the place.
Your dog's a wolf. I know. Ain't it cool?
Yep.
So loud. By the way, the Phantom has a wolf, and the whole time I'm thinking that I know the Phantom that's thinking, I'm the coolest guy in the fucking world.
Inside of you, there are two wolves, and one of them is a horse. But it's not actually a horse. It's actually a broom.
To be honest with you, Diane, I'm surprised.
That horse gets some fucking major scenes. Yeah. Oh no, we need to escape. Me and you, not Catherine Zeta-Jones chick, the other girl whose name escapes me.
Amelia Earhart, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. But they jump off the pontoon of that plane onto a horse. Mind you, none of it's real. But I was like, that's a pretty cool fucking scene. It would never happen, but I haven't seen anything like it in a film before. How did the horse know? Who knows? But it's happening.
I loved it. I loved the whole thing. The execution was not flawless, but it was wholesome, and it made me smile. It, just like you explained, it's so swashbuckling, and the Phantom doesn't even wince at the idea. He's like, oh, yeah, by the way, you got to go to the pontoon. Yeah. Jump on the horse real fast for me, babe.
No, just do it. It'll be fine.
The fact that they made it in one jump, no scratches, and in a plane that has no fuel explodes wildly in the forest. I loved it. What the fuck? That's the silliest thing. It was so good.
They then ride on this white horse tandem, holding one another through this lush jungle into a like a cavernous grotto with these beautiful fucking stalactites and this blue lagoon. They ride across that into his bat cave, and he's like, let me give you a gift from my ancestors, something from the treasury. And she's like, oh, what is it, Phantom? He goes, it's a pearl necklace. And skeet.
Give that bitch a pearl necklace. Bitches love pearl necklaces.
But it wasn't any pearl necklace. It was a black pearl necklace, and we all know those are cursed.
This is cursed. That is cursed.
And this movie has so many different tie-ins.
Yeah. It's the everyman, but then you realize it's just Billy Zane. A purple one at that.
By the way, just circling back to that scene with the plane that's going to crash and they jump down onto the horse's back. If I was that horse, I would be pissed. Jumping out of a plane, like that's what we're doing, jumping out of a plane and onto a horse's back. Like, that is a living creature. Yeah, it's strong, it's a horse, but like, you're still jumping onto its back from a moving plane, like, I don't know, talking 15 feet above? Come on.
Okay, that's real logic, but I know the movie's logic is, you know what? That horse is strong as an ox.
Yeah, it'll look cool.
Yeah, that's no regular horse. That's Shadowfax. And only Gandalf and the Phantom can ride him.
Technically, one of the horses of the apocalypse. Keep an eye out, kids.
Ooh.
Another tie-in.
Yeah.
Before we get too far into this, we have to talk about the other side of this romantic affair. Kristy Swanson, who in this movie looks less like Kristy Swanson than Cake Girl did in the last movie we talked about. This is Kristy Swanson as, like, the love interest. Past, present, and future, I guess.
But she's definitely in her, like, first woman to cross the Atlantic phase and all that jazz.
Like, wardrobe went, she is Amelia Earhart, and when she's not Amelia Earhart, she is Lois Lane. Those are your two outfits, put her in it.
Yeah. Like, they talk about her like she's some sort of, like, adventurous. Like, she just, when we meet her, she just came down from the Yukon, and she's done this and that, but, like, anytime she's with the Phantom or Billy Zane, whatever you want to call him, at She's just like damsel in distress, kind of, for the most part. I don't know.
I mean, maybe that was a through line, because like later on we do find out they were connected all along. So maybe there's the movie's way of saying like, oh, they were meant to be no matter what. Because we do have like other guys try to hit on her, and they're just like, man, damn, you got so much moxie, kid, and Billy Zane was the only one that respected her, I guess.
By the way, that's such horse shit. Just throwing that out there. It's just like, 6 years ago we were in love, we were engaged, we were gonna spend our lives together, but then you just disappeared and I didn't hear about you for 6 years, and then I totally didn't recognize you wearing a mask and a purple suit when I was in the middle of nowhere jungle. You spoke to me in complete sentences and didn't recognize that you were the same person as my former lover. I don't know.
Right there with you, man. Right there fucking with you. Because it's almost the equivalent of the Robin mask. It's just him. It's just him with sunglasses.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's barely bigger than a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle mask.
So if we want to do a quick rundown, the plot is there are crystal skulls. Let me rephrase that. Nondescript metallic skulls.
Right.
4 of them. 3 that we know about. And they got to be gathered up to create lasers?
Wait,
Sure.
hold on.
Whatever.
Are there actually 4? Because I thought the last guy was just bluffing. Like, there's a secret 4th one you don't know about. We could team up.
No, it's like some backwards Pokemon shit. Like you get the Magnemite, then you make a Magneton.
Like, I guess we didn't see was there a 4th skull on the screen ever?
The secret evolution of Magneton is triggered by the ring that the trainer carries, and that ring was on Billy Zane's finger.
Ring was the 4th skull?
Correct.
Oh,
it was like
okay.
a last minute ditch effort to get the movie really interesting at the end. Like, wait a minute, we spent the whole time looking for 3 skulls, and now there's a 4th one? Wow, this plot is so thick.
Give him that hot spit on that thing.
Lord.
That's going to be topical in 10 years.
Well, to stay on topical, we gotta talk about the other half of this stuff. Like, there is bad guy in this movie. I mentioned him just briefly, but he's just like, kind of just Howard Hughes.
Today we would call him Elon Musk. In that day, he was Howard Hughes. Same scumbag.
I kind of love him to death because he's just such a outright douchebag. He's just like, yeah, I'm evil, and I got the suit in my pocket. Yeah. Fuck you gonna do about it?
I'm right there with you. This guy is a blast. At first, I really thought it was Cary Elwes. Is that his name? The fella from Princess Bride?
I've never learned how to pronounce his last name. Elwes, that guy, yeah.
But it was definitely, he's giving you 100% that Robin Hood Men in Tights, that Princess Bride character, the Dread Pirate Roberts, but now he's in New York and in the Roaring Twenties or whatever. It was a lot of fun. He was a lot of fun.
He's got like what I referred to as the Cobb. He's got the Cobb, a little cartel of old billionaire bad guys, and they just meet around a bad guy table and talk about doing bad guy things. It's like, yeah, we're gonna go get these skulls. We're gonna kill people. We're gonna break into this museum and get one. We're bad guys.
Given that he is that egotistical billionaire type, like I mentioned earlier, he just oozes that evil charisma. And the thing is, up till the end, it's not that he's stupid, but he knows this shit's gonna get him killed, and he's just like, let's do it.
Yeah, toward the end, he's like trying to team up with the other bad guy. It's like, come on, let's, me and you, bro, we could do this.
I enjoyed that. It's like, your soul is mine. He's like, how about I keep my soul? You take these 2 and I bounce.
Yeah, he was very open about it. He was like, oh, physical pleasure. Totally forgot. Take the bitch.
Yes.
I bet you could even do like sex stuff with her, but I'm not going to say that because this is rated PG.
That could have been a G movie. Like, there's nothing, literally nothing unfriendly in this film. Everything comes off so nice. Okay, if you're saying, give it to me.
That one gangster guy, he gets blown away by a cannon, and it's so awkwardly violent, it made me fucking chuckle.
For me, I would go the other direction. I was surprised that this was PG in 1996. Like, there are many people getting killed in this movie, including one of the big bads who gets eaten by a shark. or multiple sharks.
Oh, right.
It was almost the same level of violence as Batman the Animated Series. You know, the Tommy gun rips loose. There's someone laying on the ground. You don't really see much. They let you know later that he somehow survived, etc., etc. Like, even when the dude gets ate by the sharks, it's whatever. There's sharks. There's some splashing in the water. There's no gore. The dude that gets shot with a cannonball, fucking 10 out of 10, bro. It's just like a sack dummy shot out of a catapult, and it's fucking awesome.
Oh, what about when the three skulls finally unite and they create like that green laser, and it just evaporates the guy, and he's Carrie Yules or whatever, Drax is like, well, damn, I didn't know it'd be that bad.
Straight up, a dude gets vaporized, and then the pirates are like, "Oh yeah, we should go home."
To wrap it up, yo, that dude's got a fucking laser beam.
Yeah.
When he spreads it over, it poofs him into a little ball. The pirates see that shit, and they're like, yo, we gotta get out of here before we become just another shipwreck in this cave.
Oh, and speaking of Shipwrecked, what I've got here for you today is from San Diego, California, Mission Brewing. This is Shipwrecked, a double IPA, 9.25% alcohol by volume, big boy. It is immediately hoppy, very hop-forward, green, grassy, vegetal, resinous, a lot of those adjectives. But there is a good, solid, like, malty backbone in there, too. It even says malty backbone on the can, which you have to love. This is a double IPA, so don't take that malty information too far. This is an IPA. This knows what it is. But it's pretty tasty. It's strong. It's bold. I would probably drink another one again, and I will because I bought a 4-pack.
Well, speaking of not bad, let's talk about some of these action scenes. These buckles are so swashed by the end of this movie. I was actually kind of impressed they got away with some of the stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The sets, number one, I want to discuss that. They have, like, the Goonies set and the ship from Mortal Kombat that Shang Tsung sails into the fucking Netherrealm.
Yeah. They kept his outfit and everything, don't worry.
He speaks with the same accent and, like, tonation, too. That is Shang Tsung.
Oh, yeah, dude.
But you were spot on about the Goonies, too. There's a whole lot of Goonies-isms in here. Like, that's basically One-Eyed Willie's treasure.
Except for One-Eye Willie had the fourth skull, the one that was forged in secret by Sauron himself and Mount Doom. One skull to rule them all.
Right.
This movie just has all the connections.
Okay, let's talk about the skulls for just a second. So,
yeah.
The whole movie, 3 skulls. Okay, they put them together and they're just like this crazy laser weapon. Oh, there's a strange MacGuffin right at the end of the movie, and it's just Billy Zane being like, "Yeah, it was me all along." And then like the evil guy's like, "Oh man, your Schwartz is as big as mine." And I don't know, I was elated. This was fucking ridiculous.
It definitely feels sort of Indiana Jones Kingdom of the Crystal Skull with everything included in that, but it feels like watching that movie as like a kid, so you're a little bit more okay with the ridiculousness of it all.
The fucking shit is so over the top and strange because we have literal pirates. There's nothing more to them but pirates. They are pirates and they have their logo on a fucking sail, and it's nothing but a spider web with the Prince logo put inside of it and then color matched. That's the evil logo.
Those are the artists formerly known as the Pirates. But when you say era accurate, you don't mean the era from which this movie is supposed to take place. You mean these motherfuckers are from the 1700s.
Time-locked pirates.
But they're in this cave for some reason, and I don't know why.
We get a lot of action sequence, from weird gunfights where Billy Zane is flinching hard as shit, to him sliding down an elevator cord and his shoes are smoking. We get this, though. And there's an explosion with the 3 magneton skull laser thing. And it shows that same fucking explosion 3 different times from 3 different angles. Interjected in probably, a 20-second, destruction piece.
They tried their best. I realized that the explosion that they wanted was not the explosion they were afforded. I thought it was a cute way to try to like patch the little cracks in the facade, because like one of the explosions was kind of just like stretched and kind of yoinked out to kind of fill the frame a little bit as Billy Zane jumped into the little channel there. I was just like, whatever. I know you use the same fire effect for like that billionaire getting zapped off the earth, but you know what? I understand.
Yeah, dude. They were desperate for like explosion bits. So as you were watching, it would be like the cave exploding, then it would cut to the scene of Commando with two guys flying over the springboard.
We can't complain about the amount of explosions when we were basically like George Bush memed there was a fourth skull.
Sir, a fourth skull has just hit the cave.
It's true. Like, I don't want to say and complain that there's so much going on, because you can keep the pieces sort of in their own place. You can follow this, but there is still so much going on that just, like, there's pirates, you're in the jungle. We haven't even mentioned the rope people. He has friends in the jungle that take care of things, take care of them, protect them. There's submarines with fucking torpedoes.
He could have had a bunch of Ewoks for friends. I mean, it doesn't matter. Because at this point, the movie is just like, this guy needs this thing because adventure movie requires this. And it was full stop. They were pulling out everything at the end.
So for me, this movie has a lot of just really cute bits. It's cobbled together poorly. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed watching it. Like, there's a few moments where the pacing definitely gets you. But for the overall piece, the Mummy prequel is you know? Billy Zane and Drax are the only people you need to be concerned about. They're the only people really having fun on screen, in my opinion. Catherine Zeta-Jones tries, in her few brief moments of screen time, to look excited and be a part of it, but she clearly has no clue what the fuck's going on in the film, and it kind of shines. But for me, I would watch again in certain circumstances. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
I like this movie a lot, and to try to explain this movie to someone who had never heard of it before, I would say it is The Mummy, but every scene is the worst take. There is a lot of good creativity. There's a lot of great source material. I feel like this is a movie that should have worked on the level like The Rocketeer, you know, where you have the camp, but you have the adventure, you have the whole shebang in a way that 90s audiences could have consumed it and remembered it fondly. But it is just so caught on itself, and there's just some awful buffoonery here and there. But for the most part, it's charming, and I do have to recommend it on that.
Okay, you guys are comparing this to The Mummy. What I am going to parallel this to is Last Action Hero, but instead of being a representative of Marvel movies, it's a representative like Indiana Jones movies. But as like a superhero, I don't know. There's a whole lot of different influences in here and things that it feels like this actually influenced in itself. I feel like this would have done better as like a television series for whatever reason. Give it a little bit of more room to breathe and develop the story, not have everything just like forced down your throat in an hour and 40 minutes. But overall, honestly, I'm right there with you. This was a pretty good movie. It's got a lot of flaws, but it was a whole lot of fun. Big adventure. Sign me up.
Well, there you have it. That was The Phantom. If you have any strong feelings about the movie or the show, leave it in the comment section below.
Make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons. Be sure to bash that bell icon so you don't miss what we ever have brewing up next.
Get out there and follow us on the social medias. We got all of it. You can find us on YouTube as well. You can even locate us anywhere. Podcasts are available. Give us a shot. We're kind of funny. Kind of like this movie. We're like a diamond in the rough. If you don't give us a listen, maybe we'll have to do another movie about more crystal skulls.
I hear there's at least a dozen.
They belong in a museum. Oh, okay.
Skulls. Why'd it have to be skulls?